Okay, this is not going to be a political post. It's going to be like housekeeping or an update post, whatever you want to call it. Before I get into it, I just want to say that it's going to be over 100 degrees in Portland, Oregon today. So after I film a few videos, our family is dipping out to go to the river where it will be substantially cooler and we can avoid the extreme temperatures. There are 0 bars at the river. I will have no signal. I've already downloaded an audiobook. I am taking my knitting. But when we get back later this evening, I will continue to film and make more content because I work 7 days a week right now, 80 hours a week easily. In fact, last night I was like, oh, I got to film like 3 or 4 videos and have them ready to roll while we're at the river because I know I won't be able to film and post then. And y'all, I fell asleep at 6:45 in the evening. I sat down in my bed and was like, I'm gonna take 2 seconds and just like chill out a little bit. I was out like a light and nobody in my family came to wake me up. And then I woke up around 11 o'clock, midnight, that kind of involuntary segmented sleep. I woke up and was up for an hour or so and then went back to bed. I do a lot of segmented sleep in the winter, but in the summer it's light until very late. And so I tend to just sleep in one chunk. Anyway, whatever. Okay, so yesterday I posted on my YouTube and also on my personal Facebook. I hardly use Facebook, but thank you to all my friends who engaged with me. I posted asking for advice about a studio or home office. You may have noticed that I film in my bedroom and it's not an ideal setup. Our house is very small. There are 6 adult-sized people here. My bedroom is right off the kitchen and right that way is the living room. This used to be like a little sitting room and we turned it into a bedroom. Or I guess maybe the previous owners did because they put a little closet in here. This house was originally like a 1-bedroom cottage built in 1922. Sometime in the late 40s, they sort of finished the upstairs, the attic. And so that is where I have my craft room and both of my daughters have their rooms. There aren't any doors up there. It's all kind of one space. The previous owner used that as the master bedroom, but I have a very small bedroom. I know I've said this in other videos. My husband has a bedroom over there. We have not shared a bedroom for a long time. If you want to watch that video, it is on YouTube, The Secret to Being Married for almost 2.5 decades. But as a result, my bedroom is very, very small. There is room for my bed, dresser I inherited from my great aunt, and then this little dresser that I inherited from my mother. There's not room in here for a desk. And so I find that I'm just frequently interrupted, right? The dogs bark, people knock on the front door, my kids are constantly interrupting me. There's, ambient noise that's distracting. And I find that my train of thought is really disrupted. I bet you notice errors in my videos as a result. So I lose my train of thought. I have to recoup. I have to erase portions and refilm them. And it's not really conducive to being a grown-up running a business where I make content for the internet. And so, at the advice of people who know this stuff more than me, I realized that I need to get a real studio, probably in the backyard. There's nowhere in my house that I can do it. The basement belongs to my sons, the upstairs to my daughters. The living room is quite loud. There's people everywhere. Like I don't have a space. And also, let's be honest, for tax purposes, like this is my job. So for tax purposes, I can't use my bedroom as a home office and get a tax write-off for it. I can't use my living room as a home office. Like I need a dedicated space to do my work. It makes sense production-wise. It makes sense for giving y'all the quality of content that you deserve. And it also makes sense financially. But at the same time, I'm a permaculture person. I don't want to use resources. One of my goals for 2025 was to spend as little as possible, right? I desperately would like to deprive the Trump regime of any contribution to the economy. And also, I don't like using new resources. Some of you who might have been to my backyard or have watched my older permaculture videos, we have a shed built out of pallets and recycled material. We have another shed built out of pallets and recycled material. We have a greenhouse in our front yard built out of repurposed windows and scrounged wood. I like to reuse and repurpose and absolutely live by my permaculture ethics. We have a shed in the front yard that we built. Like, it's not that I don't have the skills to build a little studio in my backyard. It's just that I don't have the time. I've got to hire somebody because if I were to take the couple of weeks off of work to build a studio, then I couldn't afford a studio. So I'm in this catch-22 where like I have to keep working in order to improve the quality of my work and efficiency. I need a place to film. I can't do it myself because then I won't have the income coming in. I'll have to take time off of work, won't have the income, and then I can't afford to build. Does that make sense? So I'm at a place where I have to hire somebody and I'm to build it or do a prefab. The way that my backyard is situated, I don't think someone could come and bring a crane and drop it in my backyard. It would just be outrageously expensive. So I posted about it try to crowdsource, like, guys, I don't know what I'm doing. I've never built something like this before. I would need electrical. I would need it to meet my needs. I would like to have passive solar design. I would like to have adequate airflow so that I don't have to use air conditioning. I would love a little camping wood stove so that I don't have to have heat beyond, the prunings from my hazel tree. So I asked on YouTube and on my personal Facebook page, and I got so many good comments. Originally, I was like, one of my neighbors has a shipping container office, and I was like, what about that idea? That's repurposing something. And then I got a lot of feedback, including from a friend who's an architect, of like, hey, those trap moisture, they don't have good ventilation. Also, my family's really tall, right? My son is pushing 6'8". I'm 6 feet tall. My husband's over 6 feet tall. Shipping containers have, like, once you insulate them, they're only 8 feet tall. It's also like not that aesthetic. There's flag lots behind me, and so I want something, my neighbors will see it, right? My neighbors behind me will be able to see whatever I build, and I don't want it to be some like janky falling apart trailer. I don't want it to be some, ugly shipping container. But I don't really have the time and capability to source all like repurposed materials from the rebuilding center, other places where we've gotten material in the past. And I just want to say I'm so thankful to all of the people, including a bunch of people who are contractors, folks who are architects, folks who have built their own home offices, who shared their opinion and expertise. That's what crowdsourcing is, right? I don't know. I need the hive mind to help me out because I don't know enough. And I'm feeling very overwhelmed with all of the choices. I do want to add here really quickly, I got 2 comments, and I'm going to sound offensive, but I don't give a fuck. I got 2 comments from people who are like, this is first world problems, like the world is burning down and you want to build a studio. And one person, I think, misunderstood that crowdsourcing is not crowdfunding. I would never ask my audience to pay for my studio. I would never ask my audience to do something like that. In fact, several people were like, oh, start a GoFundMe. If every one of your 350,000+ subscribers gave you $1, you could build like an amazing, that's insane. But I would never do that, right? In fact, when people give me thanks, like the thanks button on YouTube where they can tip you, I say, like, I'm really grateful for you wanting to do that, but would you consider donating to your local food bank instead? Would you consider donating to the ACLU instead? Like, I don't need your tips. They are much, much appreciated, but there are people who need that much more than I do. I just want to make it really clear, I would never in a million years crowdfund for a studio in my backyard. But at the same time, people were like, just get a desk in your bedroom. My bedroom is like 10 foot by 11 foot or something. There's no room for a desk in here. It's my bed and my dresser. There's no room. And then still, I can't have that be a home office right off. And then other people were like, well, that's amazing. You're so privileged you can build an office. Well, I'm running a business. And I just got a couple of snarky comments that were like, that's amazing that you're so privileged that you can be able to do that. Some of us have real problems. And I got a couple of snarky comments that were like, that's so privileged of you. Like, that's amazing that you live in such luxury that you're able to afford an office. I'm like, well, I don't live in luxury. I live in a small falling down house, but I'm also running a business, and it's completely reasonable of me to have a dedicated office space. Like, I don't see you going in Brian Tyler Cohen's comments and being like, ugh, how dare you have an office? I don't see you complaining to Midas Touch that they're filming in a studio. I don't see you in Hassan Piker's comments being like, bro, why do you have a multi-million-dollar mansion? Why do you have this like real sick office that you stream from? If I had space in my home, I would turn it into an office, but I don't. So I'm looking at building something like 150, 160 square feet, some tiny little thing in my backyard. I don't know what that's going to look like yet. I'm still trying to figure that out, trying to budget for it. And I recognize that that is a business expense that I'm very privileged to have the luxury to be able to afford. It is a smart business decision for me. It will help me make better quality content for my viewers. I'm also just on an incredibly steep learning curve, going from 50,000 subscribers, making primarily like gardening content and, permaculture, philosophy, social permaculture content, to making the kind of content that I make now and having more than 500,000 followers across 2 platforms. In just a matter of months, I would like to streamline my business so I have more time to dedicate to the charitable causes, the pro-democracy causes that I want to volunteer my time and my labor for, and also be able to create content that allows me to give more generously, to live out that fair share ethic with those same organizations and the people who need help and care. We need people to donate to those strike funds, those bail funds. And part of the reason I'm excited to work on expanding my business is so that I will have the resources to be able to donate to causes like that. So anyway, that's sort of my update for this morning. And now we're off to the river to try and stay cool.